Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. We are talking about the news that according to reports today are coming out that there has been no or little to no progression between Jordan Henderson and Liverpool over a new contract for the England midfielder. We're going to be talking all about this news, but before we go any further, I would like to remind you to please like the video and also subscribe if you're new. Both things will always and forever be greatly appreciated. But for now, let's get back to talking about the news, the reports, the speculation surrounding Jordan Henderson's contract situation with Liverpool. The news comes from The Athletic's David Ornstein and James Pearce, who have stated that talks between Henderson and Liverpool over a new contract have stalled over recent weeks, since opening several weeks ago, allegedly, and have gone on to say that it's entirely possible that Henderson could leave the club when his current contract expires in a couple of years' time. Henderson's contract runs through until 2023. Henderson, by that time, will be 33 years of age. And just like Gini Wijnaldum did this summer, they're reporting that Henderson could leave on a free transfer when that time comes around at the end of his current deal. The Liverpool captain, who spent 10 years at Anfield with the Reds, has helped them obviously towards Champions League and Premier League glory, is clearly and obviously a big part of this squad. He's obviously the vocal point, the heartbeat of this Liverpool team, an experienced leader, and I think just about everybody in and around the club loves and absolutely adores him for his commitment and his dedication to the club. And despite not having the best of starts with particularly the fan base back in 2011 when he first signed for the club, of course, a lot of eyebrows at that time were raised over the transfer fee that brought him from Sunderland to Liverpool, believed to be in the region of £20 million. But since then, and of course he's grown, he of course grew under Brendan Rodgers a little bit, but then Jurgen Klopp came in and completely took him to a new level, completely elevated his game even further to being, in my opinion, the current best England midfielder that the Three Lions have. A very underrated midfielder overall. When you talk about the great midfielders of today's game, I think he's personally very underrated and doesn't get quite the respect from particularly rival fans as much as what he probably should. And that is just goes to show the kind of player he is, with all of his qualities, his traits, his attributes, because he, in my opinion, is certainly one of the best midfielders around. He's a role model both on and off the pitch. You often hear he's constantly being involved and doing projects outside of football and things away from football off the pitch, as well as helping the youngsters of the club grow in the club and develop both themselves and their games as a whole. He's a proper all-round team player and a selfless human being at that, it seems. But the reports coming out today regarding Jordan Henderson's contract situation and how talks haven't really progressed since opening several weeks ago has kind of got me a little bit on the cautious side of it regarding this news story. I'm a little bit wary of it as a Liverpool fan, of course, and I'm a little bit cautious over it because of how the whole Gini Wijnaldum situation has played out over the past year or so. I understand that maybe with his age, that at the time of his contract it's going to expire, will be 33. Both parties in this situation, Henderson and Liverpool, may be looking for something a little different. Henderson may be seeking a new challenge elsewhere. He also may see that maybe his time may be up at Liverpool, and maybe he wants to see out the remainder of his contract at a different club. Playing more first team football, maybe somewhere abroad, maybe. I don't know the entirety of the situation regarding Henderson, but for Liverpool, maybe they will look towards more the long distant future rather than the short term distant future. Maybe there just won't be a place for Henderson, so to speak, actually on the pitch, and maybe he'll be more used as a rotational player every now and again to come in, a bit like how James Milner is being used right now. But I still think his leadership and his experience qualities will certainly be needed for Liverpool, especially going forward, and given how a few of their youngsters are coming through the ranks at Liverpool and are breaking into the first team, and looking at the current ages of various members of the Liverpool squad, they're all entering their late 20s, early 30s. So you know, it's something that the club will need to look at and need to address, and obviously that will certainly have to take place over the next 2 or 3 years or so, in building more for the future. Henderson could be a part of that, giving experience and offering that kind of leadership to them younger players. But I think more for him, it may be more about a playing situation, similar to what Wijnaldum's situation was this season. Barring any major catastrophe, he will always have a home at Liverpool, though it seems he'll always have a home at Anfield. He's forced his way into Liverpool Football Club's history books, and rightfully so. And I think that Jurgen Klopp would love to keep him around at the club, even beyond his contract's expiring. But at the end of the day, it is up to Henderson, and of course it is up to FSG, whether they have the finances to do that. Of course, we have to wait and see on this matter. I personally think a deal will be done here. I think Henderson is too much of an influential figure, too much of an icon, too much of a legend at Liverpool for this deal not to happen at some point, especially over the next 12 months or so. I highly doubt they will leave it to chance with another kind of 1 year left on his contracting and try and tempt him to stay. I do think that this situation will get resolved within the next 12 months or so. But I just think that with Henderson being away with England during the Euros, I think with him being away now on holiday, I don't think that's helped the situation. I know there's still a couple of years left on his contract, but it does catch up on you. Like I say, I remember thinking the same about Wijnaldum. I remember thinking that he would sign a new deal. Liverpool and Wijnaldum would negotiate something with him at some point, but obviously that failed to come to fruition. That failed to do so. I can't see it happening again. I can't see Liverpool making the same mistake twice, but it's whether or not Liverpool see value in keeping him around to offer something more on the pitch, and whether Henderson buys into what Liverpool are trying to sell him when we come to that, when we cross that bridge, so to speak. I don't get why there are others before him that are receiving contract negotiations. Like, don't get me wrong, the likes of Alisson and Fabinho definitely deserve new contracts in my opinion, and I'm happy that we're tying them down to longer contracts. But Henderson would be seen, to me anyway, as a bit more of a priority, given that he has 1 year less than those two in particular. And along with that, Liverpool are obviously looking to make some waves in the transfer window, and I think for right now, the club possibly sees both of them things taking a bit more priority over contract negotiations for Henderson. But like I say, I would be surprised if a deal isn't negotiated here between now and 2023. But the club needs to act within the next 12 months. Like I said, the club need to show that Henderson is valued at the club. He needs to show that they actually want him to stay, and they need to show him the love and adoration that, of course, most fans do towards him anyway, rather than obviously do it because it's the right thing to do from the club's perspective. So the club need to act fast. They need to do it in the right way. They need to approach this in the right manner, and fingers crossed, Henderson stays beyond his contract or his current deal expiring. Either way, to me, this is a interesting story, this one that's going to obviously develop one way or another in the near future, but we'll just have to wait and see what the future holds for Jordan Henderson. But of course, as I always say, these are just the thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, whatever you want to call it, of this guy. I want to know what you guys think. What do you make of this whole Jordan Henderson contract situation? Do you think he will sign a new deal? Do you think Liverpool will struggle to get him to sign on for a new contract? What are your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, whatever you want to call it on this story? I'm sure they'll make for interesting reading down below in the comments section. Otherwise, hit that like button on the way up if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're new to always see more content like this. Both things will always and forever be greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks video, and I will see you and speak with you all again soon in another video.